Hi everyone, this is Lavinia from marketing team. Thanks for joining the session today about the new Gruyter.com. Well, before I introduce the speaker, I would like to cover a few housekeeping topics. So kindly keep your microphone muted through the session. And if you need to ask a question, please type it into the chat box on your screen. And lastly, this webinar is being recorded and will be shared after the event is completed. So I'm going to hand over to today's speaker, Ben Ashcroft, Vice President Commercial at Gruyter. Ben?
Thank you, Lavinia. Hello, everybody. Just letting Lavinia go on mute. There's an echo. So hello, everybody. As Lavinia said, my name is Ben Ashcroft. I am responsible for De Gruyter's sales, marketing, and customer service teams. And it's my great pleasure to welcome you to this webinar today about the new Gruyter.com. Thank you for participating in such large numbers. We have registrations for this webinar from all over Asia Pacific, from Australia and New Zealand, from Japan and Hong Kong, from Korea and the Philippines, and other countries as well, and from all over Western and Eastern Europe, even including some people like me who are early risers in the UK. So good morning to you. And I think we also have some people on the call from South Africa. So it's a truly international group of people. And thank you for your interest in our new platform. I'm going to cover the website that we have launched, why we did it, how we did it, and what you can expect us to do next. But before I do so, I'd like to give you a brief introduction to Gruyter.com and some background information on our platform. The first thing to say about Gruyter.com is that its size represents a really significant management and technical challenge. This graphic is an attempt to visualize the site and all the systems behind it and the content we have, because we have a lot of content. We have about 6 terabytes of data accessible via the platform. Every month we get between 1 and 2 million visitors on the website, and that means about 3 million user sessions and about 4 million page impressions. And at any one time during business hours, there are almost 1,000 people on the site. And since the launch of the new Gruyter.com a month ago, we've seen those numbers going up. We have since launch, and this slide is over a week old, so those numbers will be bigger now. We have had over 200,000 PDF downloads. We have almost 5,000 institutions live, that means using the site regularly, and over 40,000 users a day. So we have some significant numbers, and that represents quite a challenge for us in providing our online services to you. And that is at the heart of why we decided to launch this new platform. Many of you will know that we only went live on a new version of the old site last year around this time. It was actually almost exactly the same time as the pandemic started. So you could be forgiven for asking why we did it again so soon, because a platform change is not a trivial thing either for us or for our customers and users. Our scale simply means that the previous off-the-shelf platform provided by Pub Factory could no longer deal with the significantly growing volume and complexity of our content and data. It was too slow. Access to licensed content was often a problem. We had far too much downtime, and fixing bugs, upgrading and changing things were all too inflexible. It took months to get anything done because working with a third-party supplier inevitably means that compromises are being made because they are servicing multiple publisher clients. And finally, the problems with our last platform launch in early 2020, which did not go smoothly, showed that we had the need for a fundamental change. Plus, and this is almost the more important thing, we want control over what we offer you, our customers, and when. And we don't want a vendor and the needs of multiple other publishers dictating this for us. Publishing is already largely an online business, and the pandemic has accelerated this trend. We need to be able to behave like other big online businesses out there, digital businesses, and to serve our authors and our researchers and all of our customers digitally. And in order to do this well, we've significantly upgraded our capabilities. And that means taking platform development in-house and recruiting a team of digital specialists. It means working with the digital consultancy 67 Bricks, based in the UK, who worked on the award-winning Emerald platform, and ending our cooperation with Pub Factory, the previous provider. And it also means working with some of the best digital service providers out there. And I'll go into what some of these names on the slide mean in just a second. So we built a new platform, and I think it's worth saying that we've done it in 18 months from the ground up and during a pandemic, which is really not an easy thing to do. The core platform is significantly faster than the previous one. And because we've built it using a range of cloud-based components, it's flexible, so it can be scaled up as required. And it will always use the newest technology, because working in the cloud ensures that you always have access to the latest version of all those services. And we're working with some of the best providers of digital services that are out there. LIBLYNX is an API-based solution for online access management that allows us to manage and simplify and automate users' access to our content across all their devices. PSI is an application that enables us to facilitate legitimate access to content for users, helping to eliminate subscription abuse and eradicating IP misuse and mistakes. Amazon Web Services will be familiar to a lot of you. It's the world's most broadly adopted cloud platform service. And moving our technology into the cloud allows us to innovate and experiment much faster. And lastly, Foxy.io will allow us to include a web shop on our platform that will make buying from our website a really seamless and pleasurable experience. Finally, the bit that you don't see is that we've built a product data warehouse where all our metadata and content data sits, and which can be queried in multiple ways and can deliver data to various locations, making us much more flexible in how we can use our content. This will enable us to build new digital products in the future and to get our content online more quickly and more reliably than before. What does this mean? Well, this slide is a mixture of internal Gruyter benefits and benefits to you, our customers. Fundamentally, using better technology will allow us to give our users what they want, which for most of them is quick, simple access to our content with fewer problems. We think our customer service is fantastic, but we want them to have less work, and we want you to spend less time writing to them and calling them, because you have better things to do. We want to be transparent with you about what we are developing, and we want to get your input. And we want to gather data from the platform so that we have objective evidence of what people are doing on the site and how our content is being used, so that we can use this to do things that you and our users want. The strategy behind that is relatively simple. It has 4 pillars. Owning our own platform, not being a client of a third-party provider, means that we can do what we and our customers want as quickly as possible. We'll decide that by talking to you, but primarily by interrogating the data that comes from the platform. We've launched the site, as you know, and I'll talk about how we did that and why in just a minute, but that's only the start. It's going to be continuously developed according to our timetable and not dictated by another company. And finally, we want to be able to innovate and test. The new flexible technology gives us the ability to try things out and test new ideas all the time. The word agile is probably overused, but this is exactly what agile means. It means trying things out, seeing if they work, and then either developing them or stopping them, depending on what the outcome is. So our approach is to start with something that's better than what we had, and then continue to develop constantly and rapidly from there. And I'll go into the details of that in the rest of the presentation. But now I'd like to introduce you to the new Gruyter.com. So this is probably the most frequently posed question since we launched the site. And at the moment, the site really is very basic. It's a search and then the absolute minimum of pages that we needed to provide legally or to provide very basic information to our users. Why did we do that? Well, we launched this first version of our platform with the sole priority of getting the fundamental technological basis right before we add anything else. In keeping with the fundamentals of lean and agile software development, we built the earliest usable version, a minimum viable product of our platform that does what it should without being able to do much else. This first version or iteration is focused on the key functionality of providing access to licensed academic works, which is what the overwhelming majority of users expect from our platform. So we took some decisions about what would be available at launch and what wouldn't. And these core functions are the ones that were there when we launched the site on the 1st of February, and are the ones that are necessary for us to be able to fulfill that core need of providing access to content. So our content is on the site. We provide the usual access methods for institutional customers, whether that be Shibboleth or VPN access. We have user entitlements set up so that institutional customers can access that content that they have licensed. We have usage reporting. We have the analytics and tracking in the background so that we know what is happening on the site. And we made sure that we redirected from the old URLs to the new ones on the site, which have a different structure. And then there is a whole range of things that we decided would not be available initially at launch, and that includes the web shop. The web shop is an important source of income for us, but we took the decision to prioritize the functionality for institutional users over the web shop to ensure that that worked first. We did not initially put a lot of the information and marketing pages live because we wanted the time to work on those and make them better than they were before. And then there are a range of other technical and service items which we want to look at, test, and potentially do better than before we put them live on the platform. Now, why did we decide to do this? Why did we decide to consciously take away some of the things that were on the previous site? Well, we prioritized very, very carefully based on the data that we have that tells us what our users actually want and what they use. And it's really quite striking. On the old platform, about 96 of events, and events in this context are clicks, about 96% of things that people do on the site deal with accessing book or journal content. And that means that only 4% of events were not related to accessing content. So everything that we had on the site, the information pages, the various options to download covers, mark records, flyers, all those things accounted for only 4% of what was going on our site. So that gave us a very clear prioritization in terms of what to work on for launch. And that also shows you the approach that we will be adopting moving forward. It's the data that tells us what we should prioritize. Having said this, we did have the needs of institutional customers, specifically librarians, very much in mind as part of the development for launch. And I'd like to go into a few of those items now. The first thing you may have seen if you've been on the new-to-Gruyter.com is at the top right-hand corner of the homepage, there's a link to My Products. This is actually visible to all the users from an institution, from an authorized institution. So if users are logged in, they can go to this page. And this shows an overview, excuse me, this shows an overview of all the holdings that an institution has with de Gruyter. And it's a great example of our iterative approach to development. It doesn't look particularly fancy right now. It's a very simple list. It does have links to package content, so you can click on an ebook package title and it will show you the books in that package. And it will show you the issues within a journal that's been subscribed to. It shows the content years available to that institution as well. But apart from that, it's not particularly user-friendly. We recognize that. But we will work on this page and make it more user-friendly for you as we go along. It's just that we have chosen to go live with something that fundamentally works and then develop it from there using the insights that we gain from how people use it. A second service that I'd like to highlight is the IP registry. For those of you who don't know them, the IP registry is a UK company set up by two, I guess you could call them veterans who worked with the American Chemistry Society, who've basically made it a mission to help publishers police access to content. If you get a chance to hear them talking about how they're fighting an ongoing battle against misuse of online data by organized criminals and bad actors, then I can thoroughly recommend it. But they've set up a very simple to use service, and there are three really key reasons why we've chosen to work with them and why I can recommend that you do too. It makes, so checking and changing IP ranges in our systems through our customer service is a time-consuming business. And every time you ask a human being to enter data, which can be quite complex and quite large, it's open to errors. The IP registry eliminates this because the transfer of data is automatic into our systems. It's also a chance for you to save time. The IP registry works with about 150 publishers. So if you update your IP range details in the IP registry system, it's awesome that those changes are automatically sent to 150 publishers rather than you having to contact them one by one. And finally, working with them is a contribution to helping to prevent misuse of content by ensuring that only legitimate IPs get access. And that is good for us all who are concerned with the maintenance of copyright and fair access to content. The final thing is LIBLYNX. LIBLYNX is the company that we're working with to provide our system for identity and access management on the new-to-Gruyter.com. The LIBLYNX system holds all of our customer accounts, which have been migrated across from our old access management system for both institutions and individuals. So it holds details like the IP addresses, and those are transmitted over from the IP registry. It holds referring URLs, usernames and passwords and shibboleth details, for example. LIBLYNX is also the system that provides our library admin access, and there is the URL for that system is on the slide. You should have been sent details of how to log into that system if you are an admin in your institution, so you can go in and have a look. And one of the things you will find there is the ability to generate usage reports. This is the screen for generating counter reports. You can see here as well that it contains the sushi API details. We're also migrating across the reports from 2019 and 2020. So LIBLYNX will hold both current and historical data for you to compare. Okay, that's the background to Gruyter.com. And we launched, as you know, on February the 1st. So how did the launch go? Well, we had a lot of overwhelmingly positive feedback from customers on launch. Many people commented on the speed of the site compared with the old one. And the design was also frequently mentioned. And our approach was widely covered in the trade media, which was nice to see. In terms of the performance of the site, we can already see that we have significant improvement versus the old platform. It's significantly quicker and it scores very, very strongly on all the other Google metrics, which of course is important because Google ranks high-performing sites more highly in search results. And that is important for the visibility of the content and also for the satisfaction of our users. We're still working to improve the speed score, but we're pretty pleased with that as a start. And we can work on these things because in the background, we can track everything about the site's performance. So if we can see if something is going wrong, quite often before the user even notices that something is happening. Now, having said all that, we know there have been some initial problems that you and your users have had to deal with, and I'd like to spend some time now explaining what these are and what we're doing about them. The problems we've had break down broadly into 4 categories, and it can be difficult to separate them in practice. So, for example, the reason someone cannot access an ebook could be about technical access problems, it could be metadata issues, or it could be missing or faulty content. And as a result, we've seen a spike in our customer service tickets, and it's taken longer than usual to resolve these issues. We apologize for this. It's not the way that we would like things to be, but all we can do is reassure you that we're working very hard to deal with your particular issues, and we will do so as quickly as possible. Please do always check back on the status update page. You see the links there to the German and English versions on the site to see the latest news about things that we have fixed or any ongoing problems. In terms of access, we had some problems with the import of access details into our new LIBLYNX system. And we also didn't know at the start that customers who use VPN to control access need to have their IP version 6 registered with us. It doesn't work with IPv4. In addition, easy proxy has been problematical. Here we can say that we don't think the technology on the LIBLYNX end or the Gruyter end has been the problem, but rather the issue lies with the wide variety of different settings with which different institutions have. And it's a question of getting the stanzas correct so that our system recognizes those IPs. As a result, it's very much a matter of trial and error to find a solution for each customer, and customer service is working with all customers who still have issues to get those sorted out. I'll go into the DOI and content issues in more depth on another slide, but to cover the databases, one of the choices that we made based on the usage data that we have from the old site was to deliberately go live without a few features of the databases that we could see were not used that often. This was unfortunately the only option that we had in order to get those products live on the website in the time available. In addition, some content took longer to migrate than we expected because it turned out that some of it was either not cleanly tagged or properly structured. So we had to do more remedial work on the data than we expected. And finally, TLL, one of our most used databases, we had to put this on a completely new technological platform because of the way that the content is structured. And it took a little bit longer than expected. We had to refer people to an open access PDF-based version of the database for an interim period. I'm pleased to say that it went live yesterday, and I'll show a quick peek of it to you at the end of the presentation. Almost all of these issues have one thing in common. They are not actually the result of the new technology that we're using. They have their roots in how we worked with our previous technology and the shortcomings of that, and also the way that we have worked in the past with data. So they're legacy issues. We're cleaning house now, and some of these issues are coming to the surface precisely because we are exposing them on the new platform. They're being fixed so that they won't happen again. And I know that we've already tested your patience with the platform launch last year, and these issues are testing your patience again. Please do bear with us while we sort out these remaining bugs. And then I think given a little bit of time, we will be where we want to be in terms of the service that we are providing to you. Looking at in detail at the status of these issues now, Easy Proxy, we think we're getting to understanding the issues better and finding solutions on an individual customer basis to make sure that access can be restored. We're working with OCLC to update the stanza list. If you do use VPN, please send us your IPv6 information, and we will sort that out very quickly. But generally, we can say that if you are still experiencing widespread access issues for the site, we will work with you individually to find solutions for that. And please get in touch with customer service to start that conversation if you have not already. In terms of DOIs, this is a slightly complex situation. We publish DOIs for new content before they're actually registered with Crossref. And that means there is a slight delay before they work on Gruyter.com sometimes. For older content, we are still doing a cleanup and identifying those DOIs that have not been registered properly. We're doing that continuously. So if you come across some content for which the DOI doesn't work, please contact us and we can fix that pretty quickly. In terms of missing content, we're uncovering problems with either De Gruyter or publisher partner content that was either never digitized or was not put online properly or has technical faults. These are mostly legacy issues. In other words, they were there on the old platform too. We did also have an initial issue with the feed of content to the site, but we're now down to less than 1,000 ebook titles that have issues of some kind. That's about 1% of all our ebooks, and a few journal issues. And I expect that to come down very rapidly now. I think we'll be at about 500 ebooks by the end of the week, for example. If the content is available as electronic files, we can fix this pretty quickly and get content online. There are some cases where we have to source books from libraries and scan them and then create the metadata. And that obviously takes a bit longer, but we will try to keep you up to date with the progress on specific bits of content as we go through the process. The final thing to cover that has rightly been the subject of complaints is databases and online reference products. As I told you before, we took the decision to go live without advanced search, browse, and filter. We're working on these now, and they will be available over the course of the next couple of months. We're working to finish the content upload and resolve the remaining problems with the structure of that data. The AKL database is a specific issue, partly because of the size of it and partly because it's actually quite an old product and the structure of the data is not ideal. But we anticipate that will be finished within the course of the next month. We had an initial issue with access to the combined BTL TLL product that is now fixed. And as I said before, TLL went live yesterday as we had promised. It's worth just looking briefly at TLL because we're pretty proud of how that's turned out. We put it on a new, basically on a new platform. You'll see the link there to go and have a look. And I hope you'll agree that the new design is really stunning and much easier to use than the previous one. And this is a really good sign for other products that we will launch in the future, I think. So it's a reason to look forward to new things happening coming up. So that's where we are. Where do we go from here? Well, I've talked already about agile development, iterative development, and this is how we will do our development going forward. Instead of taking ages to build something that may be perfect when we finish it, but to be honest, probably isn't, we're working an agile way to build prototypes, improving them as we go along, using the data and the feedback from our customers to make them better and better until we have something that is the final and ultimate version. So we will go from the skateboard to the sports car in a series of steps. Our new infrastructure, our new technology is set up so that we can build and test and release changes to the software in short cycles. On the new Gruyter.com, rather than releasing changes and improvements every 3 to 6 months, which is what we did with Pub Factory, we will be doing new releases every 2 weeks. This means that making changes and improving things is cheaper, quicker, and has less risk. So that when we launch a new version of something, it doesn't mean that you then face a whole host of problems trying to work with the platform. And it means we can then measure what we've done and find out if the changes achieve what we wanted them to achieve. The main goals for developing the platform in 2021 are in some ways pretty simple. We want to make sure that it's stable. We want to make sure that it's as fast as possible. And we want to make the platform easily usable for everybody. And we want to reduce the number of customer complaints so that you and your patrons spend less time talking to us about things that you can't do. All the things that we do on the website in 2021 will be prioritized using these criteria and by using the data to decide what gets built next. Very shortly, we'll be publishing our development roadmap on the website so that you'll be able to see exactly what we're planning and when, and that will be up to date in real time. So we're committed to being totally transparent about what is happening on Gruyter.com and what our plans are. In the meantime, a very, very quick sneak peek at what's going to happen over the next 1 to 2 months. We have a lot of work still to do on the access control issue and the systems around managing access on the platform. We need to integrate the IP registry with LIBLYNX so that changes to IP ranges are transferred across automatically. We need to upload the legacy counter reports into LIBLYNX and have them available to you. And we want to implement a significantly improved institutional access page and workflow called Seamless Access, something that is going live on the Emerald platform very shortly. And those things are going to happen over the course of the next month, or in the case of Seamless Access by May. We'll be putting our web shop live in April to May. That will be a process that consists of several stages. And currently scheduled for next week is the go live of further information pages for the site. So we want to make sure that all the information about contacts, how to publish, the customer service information, the sales contact details, etc. We want to get them onto the site as quickly as possible, because clearly people need to know how to contact us and get some basic information from us. And we're just working on the structure and the design of those so that they are as good as they can be when they go live. And then finally, in around May, we want to start improving our services to librarians. It's been part of the plan from way back that we want to have a librarian hub where you can basically do self-service and make use of a lot of the data that we can provide. So our vision for that is that you will be able to do things like look at your usage, look at your turnaways, have much better presentation of your content listings. And there's much, much more that we have on the plan as well. And we look forward to showing you that over the course of the next couple of months. So I hope you'll stay tuned for more. I look forward to being able to update you on our plans as they develop. And maybe we will hold another webinar in the next couple of months to update you on those. But in the meantime, that's the presentation, and I'd be delighted to now take your questions and any feedback that you might have on the platform or the presentation. Thank you very much.
There's no questions so far, but let's give them a couple of minutes to type it out.
Sure.
There is one from Rebecca asking if there is an accessibility statement on the website.
It's not on the site. Ooh. It's not on the site right now, but we will be making that available. The site does have, according to the metrics that we have run, the site does have an extremely good accessibility score, and we will make that available, that information available shortly.
You have mentioned about improved searching and indexing. So how did the Gruyter manage to do this?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's an ongoing piece of work, and essentially this comes down to improving our search engine rankings by working on those metrics that I showed from the Google Lighthouse application. So Google favors those sites which have good search engine optimization. We've been working with an agency to improve the SEO primarily through technical means. So the structure of the site, the structure of the pages, but also the fact that the site is significantly faster helps boost it in the rankings, and that that improves our score on the search engines.
Any ideas on when Counter 5 data might be made available in JUSP? If I got that right.
I'm not sure what JUSP is, I'm afraid. So if you can help me with that, I'll be able to get an answer from you.
All right. If the person voicing this question could just, expand on the abbreviations, then we might have a clearer idea. I'll move on to the next question first.
Just a second, Lavinia, sorry.
Yeah.
Counter 5 reporting is available on the from us now, if that helps.
So there's a question about the subject listings. There's mentioned that they cannot browse subjects in the advanced search page.
Yeah, that's correct, and that's a decision that we made consciously. Because actually that feature was used by a relatively small number of the users on the site beforehand. So we don't have a browse function. If you search for something, if you search for something, you can then subsequently refine your search by subject area. But at the moment, we don't have a subject browse. If it proves that a lot of people want that functionality, then it's something we can look at in the future. We're also working on how we represent the structure of our publishing program online. So how we, for example, we make it clear to authors and other groups of users, how we make it clear that we're a big publisher in classical studies, for example. That is something that we're looking at, whether we do things like subject hubs or subject information pages on the site to enable people to get an overview of different subject areas. That is something that we're looking at right now, and we will work on it.
Again, on the search function, the lack of the option to browse journals only by title is one of the issues that they had. Will this option be available within the next update?
So it's not something that we currently have on the development roadmap, no. So I think that relates to the previous answer that I gave about the browse function. It's not something that we see being a big part of the usage on the site until now. So it isn't something that we've prioritized, but it is something that we'll keep under review. And if it is an issue that is raised frequently, then we will look at it again.
Is the connection to CCC REGISTRY for publishing also through the new website?
Yes, we're just in the process of. Hello, Ant, by the way. We're just in the process of putting live the pages with information on read and publish deals and open access. Those should be on the site next week, and those will contain all the information about how to publish in the context of open access transformative deals, and the link to CCC for submissions will be there as well.
Right. About the web shop, would it be possible to buy electronic books from there at institution basis?
So buying through the web shop for institutional customers with all the sort of terms and conditions for your institution is not part of the web shop at the moment. The web shop is primarily designed for individual customers, end users, and that is our first focus for the web shop. So institutional purchasing of content will work as it does now, but it's something that we can keep on the list of potential developments, we certainly do want to see if we can streamline that purchasing workflow for institutions and make it quicker and easier for you to do that.
So back to JUSP actually stands for JISC Usage Data Harvesting Service.
Okay.
So,
thanks for clarifying that. We'll need to get back to you on that. I'm not sure about the answer when the Counter 5 data will be available there, but I'm sure there's an answer for that we can get to quickly. Okay.
Again, on accessibility, do you have any plans to go through the Aspire verification service? And in terms of more general feedback, there's noticed that if you search for a full title, including the subtitle, you don't get a result. You have to take away the subtitle. Is this something that's going to be addressed?
We can certainly address that. Yes, I'll make sure that is fed back to the platform team, and that we look into improving the search to take account of that. Thanks for the feedback. It's the first time I've heard that.
Right. Regarding the fortnightly updates, are the details available in a central list so they can keep track of the changes?
Yeah, they will be. So so we have a sprint starting next week, the first development sprint on the new platform starting next week. That is mainly about sort of in the background technical stuff that sort of normal, I was going to say normal people, non-technical people won't really notice very much. But subsequent sprints, we plan to make those part of the roadmap, so that you'll be able to see on the website what we're going to do in those development sprints. So yeah, we plan to make that transparent.
This is a specific question about Burghauser. When can we expect the book collection to be loaded?
So so the ebook content, including Burghauser, should be on the site now. If you have a specific issue with Burghauser content or individual pieces of Burghauser content, please let us know. I'm not aware of any systematic issue there. What I will say about Burghauser is that we will be developing a new site for Burghauser, which represents the publisher, its program, its content, and that is scheduled for going live, excuse me, within the next month or so. So you will see a branded Burghauser site going live quite soon. The electronic content for Burghauser, though, will continue to be on Gruyter.com. It will continue to be part of all of our business models and all of our access arrangements. So you won't have to change anything in terms of how you get access to that content. You will still be able to go through Gruyter.com. So yeah, I hope I've answered your question, Kristen. If there's anything that I haven't managed to answer, please let us know and we'll follow up with you.
There is a few suggestions for improvement to the search function, which I think we will take away and feedback to the team. And then the last couple of questions revolving around functionalities. So it's about downloading results, marking references in the results itself, as well as citation functionality. Will they be added in the future? That's what they're asking.
Okay, I'm just looking for those in the chat, Lavinia, because if they're
right, it's the last couple of one. The last second one, will marking references in the results list and emailing or downloading results be part of future developments?
Oh, sorry, yes, I see it now. I will need to get back to you on the details of that. I'm afraid I'm not completely sure what we'll be able to offer and when. So, but we'll let you know when those things become part of the roadmap.
I think that's about it.
Okay. So I see that the subject browse is something that's been raised as being welcome to subject areas. So we will to subject librarians, and that doesn't come as a huge surprise as feedback, but we will take it away and make sure that that is noted for the ongoing developments. I'm just looking through the rest of the points to see if there's anything that we've missed. Yeah, so Rumi in Japan is asking, can we not filter the result by publication month? No, currently we can't. You can filter search results by year, but not by month. But thank you for your feedback, and that is something that we will take away with us and consider alongside the other requests. Okay, I think we'll just give it another minute or so just to see if any further questions or comments come in. There doesn't seem to be anything else at this stage. So in that case, I will say again, thank you very much for taking part in the webinar. I appreciate your time. I hope it was useful. If you have any further questions or feedback, please contact us. We will provide, this webinar was being recorded, so we will provide the recording to you by email. I think that will come in the next day or so. And we will also make sure that in that email, we provide the contact details of customer service and also my own contact details. If you have any further questions or comments, or if you're still having problems, then the people who can help you with those issues with the site. I see one further question has come in about our representation in India. Viresh will get back to you on that. We do work with a distributor in India, and we'll get back to you with their details in just a second in the chat. In that case, thank you very much to everybody again. Have a good afternoon, have a good day, depending on where you are, and we'll say bye-bye now. Thank you.